When it launched in March 1998, it wasn't merely a hit, it was a revolution. Critics hailed it, players obsessed over it, and its influence stretched far beyond expectations.
Jacked up and good to go. Give me something to shoot.
StarCraft's impact was global, and it ignited an esports phenomenon throughout the world, transforming gaming into a competitive sport. Having tasted such monumental success, a sequel seemed quite inevitable. But only after a 12-year-long hiatus, StarCraft II was released in 2010, which delivered breathtaking visuals, with refined gameplay mechanics and a cinematic narrative that deepened the saga. It was structured as a trilogy, with Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. It gave each faction its own epic storyline, immersing players in the struggles and ambitions of Terrans, Zerg, and Protoss alike. The franchise soared to new heights, securing its place as a masterpiece of RTS gaming. Naturally, fans clamored for more. The demand for a third installment wasn't just wishful thinking, it felt like the next logical step. But as years turned into a decade of silence, hope dwindled. The once vibrant community began to scatter, and the question loomed larger than ever. Why was StarCraft III never made? What forces conspired to stall one of gaming's most legendary franchises? What led to its quiet decline? Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Wonderman, and today we're trying to understand what really happened. Is there any future left for one of our dearest franchise? To truly understand why a sequel to StarCraft never materialized, we must first consider the profound transformation the gaming industry experienced over the past decade. When StarCraft II concluded its narrative arc, the gaming world was in the midst of a seismic shift. Multiplayer-driven games like PUBG, Fortnite, and Overwatch surged in popularity, captivating a younger, more socially connected player base. The focus was shifting rapidly towards fast-paced matches, community engagement features, and a constant influx of new content. While StarCraft had long been celebrated for its competitive multiplayer, its richly crafted single-player campaigns were equally cherished among gamers. Balancing these two dimensions became increasingly difficult as the market leaned more aggressively into live service models. By 2015, the industry was dominated by first-person shooters and fantasy-themed games, offering ongoing content. Studios recognized that the most lucrative business model was no longer a one-time purchase. It was persistent player engagement through character customizations, weapon skins, seasonal updates, and the number one franchise killer, that is, microtransactions. StarCraft, with its traditional structure and design philosophy, wasn't built to thrive in that environment. Despite its storied legacy and loyal fanbase, StarCraft was gradually overshadowed by a wave of visually striking, endlessly repetitive, and adrenaline-fueled titles, games that often favored competitive rankings and instant gratification over compelling storyline or immersive world building. At the same time, the rise of mobile gaming was redefining accessibility. There were titles like PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty, and countless gacha titles that brought high-quality competitive experiences to users without the need for a high-end PC or console. Studios that couldn't pivot to that mobile-first paradigm struggled to maintain relevance, and unfortunately, StarCraft was one of them. Real-time strategy games have always catered to a distinct and dedicated fanbase, but it's a genre that doesn't appeal to everyone. The steep learning curve, the intricate mechanics, and demanding gameplay make it difficult for casual players to engage. When faced with the choice between investing time into mastering RTS complexity or jumping into more accessible genres, most players opt for the latter. That said, the RTS experience did find a simplified form in mobile titles like Clash of Clans, which distilled the core elements of the genre into a more approachable and addictive format. By stripping away the more daunting mechanics and focusing on intuitive controls with limited unit management, Clash of Clans dominated the mobile RTS space for nearly a decade. delivering strategic gameplay directly to players' fingertips. However, Blizzard, with its deep legacy and beloved franchises, had a golden opportunity on its hands to enter or even redefine this evolving market. With an already passionate StarCraft fanbase and the expertise of seasoned developers, they were in a prime position to innovate, be it through a mobile adaptation or a streamlined RTS experience for new audiences. But instead, the upper management diverted attention elsewhere just as the franchise was poised for a renewal. There's no denying Blizzard's monumental impact on gaming history, with legendary titles like World of Warcraft, the Warcraft series, Hearthstone, and Overwatch under its belt. However, one can reasonably argue that the company missed a critical opportunity by shelving StarCraft, especially when the talent and momentum to develop a sequel were already in place. Team 1, the development group behind StarCraft II, Heroes of the Storm, and Warcraft III Reforged, played a central role in maintaining Blizzard's legacy RTS titles. However, internal shifts in priorities at Activision Blizzard drastically altered the studio's trajectory. With the company focusing its resources on high-revenue franchises such as Call of Duty Mobile and Diablo 4, support for classic RTS games steadily declined. The release of Warcraft III Reforged marked a significant turning point. Plagued by missing features, downgraded visuals, and a lack of polish, the game was met with widespread criticism. The backlash severely damaged Blizzard's reputation and further diminished confidence in the RTS division. As the primary team behind the project, Team 1 bore the brunt of this failure. Citing cost-cutting measures, Activision Blizzard initiated multiple rounds of layoffs, and since Team 1 was no longer viewed as part of the company's core development focus, many of its members were let go. While a handful transitioned to other Blizzard franchises such as Overwatch and Diablo 4, the team as a whole was ultimately dissolved. With the disbandment of Team 1, the future of StarCraft and Warcraft as RTS properties became increasingly uncertain. Although StarCraft II still receives occasional balance patches, these minor updates feel more like life support than a sign of revitalization. The franchise, once a pillar of competitive strategic gaming, now teeters on the edge of quiet retirement. Yet, in spite of the absence of new content, the StarCraft community remains impressively active, a testament to the game's enduring appeal and the passionate fanbase it continues to inspire. As Blizzard began to distance itself from RTS development, it quickly pivoted towards live service titles, games that could sustain long-term revenue through ongoing content and microtransactions. One of the most notable examples of this shift is Hearthstone. Launched in 2014, the free-to-play digital card game embraced a monetization model centered around purchasable card packs, expansions, and cosmetic items such as card backs and hero skins. By 2018, the game had already surpassed 1 billion in lifetime revenue, an astounding commercial success by any standard. Then came the turn for Overwatch in 2016. Initially released under a traditional pay-to-play model, built with esports potential in mind, it quickly became a global sensation, both critically and commercially. The game's sequel, Overwatch 2, adopted a free-to-play model, further increasing accessibility and profitability. At its peak, Overwatch generated over 1 billion in a single fiscal year. Given such lucrative returns, it's not surprising that Blizzard chose to prioritize these titles. From a business perspective, there's little incentive to return to complex, high-risk genres like RTS, when sequels and updates to existing live service games can deliver consistent profits with lower development costs. Why brave uncharted territory when proven formulas can be replicated and optimized year after year? Yet, from the fans' point of view, the absence of new StarCraft or Warcraft RTS entries leaves a nostalgic void. Although the market has recently seen a quiet resurgence of RTS and strategic titles, with notable releases like Age of Empires 4, Company of Heroes 3, and Frostpunk 2, proving that interest in the genre is far from dead. Moreover, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard brings a glimmer of hope, as Microsoft has already demonstrated a willingness to revive legacy franchises, as seen with the successful relaunch of Flight Simulator and its investment in Age of Empires 4. The StarCraft universe still holds immense potential, Its rich lore, well-established factions, and unfinished narrative arcs offer fertile ground for both new games and expanded media. While development may be dormant now, hope is not lost. Sometimes it's just a matter of waiting for the right moment and the right leadership to bring the stars back into alignment. Thank you for watching. A humble request for all the viewers: if you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel for more interesting updates in the future. Have a good one.